Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. In this video, I'm going to talk about the effects of circumcision and how it affects sensitivity and sexual pleasure. I watched the Joe Rogan podcast where he was debating circumcision, and I put the link down in the description below, and he was saying he is very much against unnecessary infant circumcision. Because it's a violation of body autonomy and it causes hundreds of deaths a year. And I agree with him 100%. And as an MRA, and the vast majority of MRAs would agree, we are against unnecessary routine infant circumcision. And Joe is right when he says hundreds of babies die every year, but it's even more because that's just looking at the United States. If you look at the entire world, it's thousands of baby boys die from circumcision every year. But I'm going to do videos on all of that in the future, and the whole complexity around the circumcision debates and kind of just how bad some of it can be. In this video, I want to look at the main subject of debate that comes up when people debate circumcision, and that is the effect on sensitivity and feeling and sexual sensation and all that kind of stuff. The question is, does circumcision affect sexual sensitivity? And the answer, in my opinion, is 100% yes. And in this video, I'm going to show you some of the anatomy of the foreskin, some of the biology of the foreskin to explain why I say this. Now, just a quick couple of notes. First of all, there won't be any graphic or inappropriate pictures in this video, but in the Wikipedia links down below, there will be. So when you click on those, you're going to see pictures of the male reproductive organ. Secondly, I know there's a lot of studies about circumcision on the internet, and there's a lot of studies that say it does affect pleasure and a lot of studies that say it doesn't. I have read a lot of studies on both sides, and I'm going to do videos on the future on studies from both sides. And I will tell you, having compared them, the studies that say it does affect pleasure usually make a lot more scientific sense. And in fact, one of the more recent studies that came out in 2016 that said circumcision doesn't affect sexual pleasure has been denounced by the British Medical Journal as bad science. But I'm going to get into that in videos in the future. And I apologize, I'm still sick, so I'm still kind of a bit rambling and probably sound a little bit sick, but I just want to get this out tonight while everyone is thinking about it. But there are two parts of the foreskin that are removed during circumcision that I want to talk about in this video. And those are the ridged bands and the frenum. So when I'm talking about these two parts, keep this in mind logically, whatever study you read. When these parts are sliced off, they're gone forever. So whatever sensation or feeling they produce, whatever effect that they make, if a man doesn't have it, logically, he's lost that forever and he doesn't feel it. So let's go to the first one, the ridged bands. The ridged bands is a band of highly innervated wrinkly skin towards the end of the foreskin. Most or all of the ridge band is removed by male circumcision. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but just bear with me here. Dr. Taylor, he characterized the ridge band as intensely vascular and richly innervated, stating that it contains more Meissner's corpuscles than does the smooth mucosa, and noted that these tactile corpuscles were found only in the crest of ridges. Now, what are Meissner's corpuscles? You can see here, Meissner's corpuscles are nerve endings that are responsible for sensitivity to fine touch stimulation. So they're the nerve endings that you find in your fingertips, on the palms of your hand, on your lips. If you roll up a piece of tissue paper and you kind of stroke your lips, how it's really, really sensitive. Well, also on your foreskin, those same nerve endings are there. So going back to the ridge band, the prepuce, including the ridge band, is a specific erogenous zone. Taylor postulates that the ridge band, with its unique structure, tactile corpuscles, and other nerves, is primarily sensory tissue. He hypothesizes that Meissner's corpuscles in the ridge bands are adapted to detect stretch. Work in progress indicates that retraction and stretching of the accordion-like structure triggers reflex contraction of the bulba canaveris and bulba spongineus. I gotta be honest, I'm not totally sure I pronounced that correctly. Tyler theorizes that the main function of the ridge band is to trigger sexual reflexes. In a letter to the editor of BJU International, Taylor writes, "Initial study indicates that the real importance of the ridge bands to sexual intercourse lies in an ability to trigger a reflex contraction of muscles responsible for ejaculation." Okay, so right there, you have these nerve endings in this part of the foreskin is specifically to do with male sexual functioning. And when a man is circumcised, that's cut off forever. Think about that. The effect of circumcision on sexual function is the subject of intense debate. Taylor's view is that almost certainly removal of the prepuce and its ridge band distorts penile reflexogenic functions, but exactly how and to what extent still remains to be seen. And I know I'm not pronouncing things very well today, and I apologize for that. But so right there, what do we have? We have special nerve tissue that is specifically for male sexual function, specifically for sexual functioning and pleasure. What happens if you cut that off? It's gone, right? Okay, now the second one to look at is the frenulum. The frenulum of the prepuce of penis, often known as a frenulum, is an elastic band of tissue under the glans penis that connects the foreskin to the vernal mucosa and helps contract the foreskin over the glans. Sensitivity. The frenulum and the associated tissue delta on the underside of the penis below the corona has been described in sexuality textbooks as very reactive and particularly responsive to touch that is light and soft. The underside of the shaft of the penis, meaning the part below the corona, is a source of distinct pleasure. Okay, a source of distinct pleasure. Crooks and Burr observed that two extremely sensitive specific locations that many men find particularly responsive to stimulation are the corona and the frenulum. Once again, that is a part of the penis that a circumcised man doesn't have. Now, there actually are some men who are circumcised as adults that still have their frenulum. But when a baby is circumcised, the foreskin is still kind of fused to the penis, so they have to kind of slice the whole thing off. So the frenulum, most of the time, when a baby is circumcised, is almost completely removed. Now, again, I put these links in the description below. And again, do take notes that there are not safe for work pictures there. But just think about this logically. If there are these parts of the penis that specifically are there to have sexual functioning and sensitivity, if you cut them off, logically, doesn't it have to follow that you lose the sensation of those parts? I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer.